On March 23rd, it's time for a new breed of hero to be heard.
Anyone for dessert?
Turn it on.
I say we kick butt.
Crank it up.
That's what I'm talking about.
Shell it out.
Did anyone see that thing that hit us last night?
Only in theaters, TMNT.
It looked like your mom, dude.
That would make her your mom, too, doofus.
Rated PG. Only in theaters, March 23rd.
Welcome, everyone, to Cinemarcade. This is the podcast about movies, video games, and the sparks that fly when those worlds collide. This is part 2 of our 3-part miniseries on the films of one Mr. Leonardo, one Monsieur Michelangelo, one Lord Donatello, and one Raphael. He's informal like that. I'm just saying. That was his own insistence. You know, he didn't want the fancy titles. He's a man of the people.
Maestro Raphael.
Okay, we can go with Maestro Raphael. That's right. We are talking about 2007's animated film TMNT. That stands for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, for those of you playing along at home. My name is Steve Guntley. I'm a large talking rat. And who is joining me here today?
Cowabunga, dude. Where's the pizza?
You ate some. We had some pizza.
Stop
did.
pretending you're Michelangelo.
I'm not.
You are
But I
not
do-
Michelangelo.
Do like pizza.
And this is J-Ban, aka I'm somebody if Rocksteady and Bebop were combined, I think.
Oh, you're bop
evil.
steady.
Bop Steady.
You're rock bop.
You're not in this movie.
No, I'm not in this movie, but that's okay. Neither is Shredder, and I'm secretly Shredder as well.
Oh, okay. This is a classic Secret Shredder situation. Yeah, one of those.
Shredder was just masquerading as a Rocksteady and Bebop, and you didn't know. You didn't know.
It is actually strange, and we'll talk more about this, but Shredder has not been on our screens for quite a while here, because we're going to pretend those two Michael Bay Ninja Turtle movies never happened, so we're not going to worry about it. We'll talk about those
make
eventually.
So much money, and
They
it's
made so much
unfair.
money. It's ridiculous.
The design of the turtles was so stupid.
We will get to stupid turtle designs, absolutely.
Will we? Are we going to look at them?
Oh, no. We're not going to
look
do
at
those.
another
Don't worry.
movie
I'm not
that
going
I'm
to make
assuming.
anybody watch those movies. We can avoid them. But we'll talk about them a little bit as we kind of talk about a little bit more about what's going on with the Ninja Turtles in general. I think the thing that's been most fascinating to me as somebody who kind of grew up with this phenomenon, who was like right there from day one with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I am very surprised at how relevant these characters still are. And I think I would have lost money if you told me when I was a kid, if I'd made a bet on it, like, will Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles still be popular when I'm 41? I would be surprised to hear that they still are.
Should have invested in the action figures and kept them in their boxes.
Instead of melting them like I did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should have. But, every once in a while, man, I'll be in like a Best Buy or something, and they'll have like a reproduction like Ninja Turtles action figure, and I'm like, oh, it's only $35. Come on. It would look so good on my desk in a box.
If it goes down, if you start going down the path of the turtle, it doesn't end in one turtle.
You need the four.
You need the four.
And then I need a Mondo Gecko figure, and then I need a Ray Fillet. Obviously, I need a pizza
real
face.
turtles.
Obviously, a Shredder, a Splinter. I need the whole. I need
And
an
a
April.
rat.
I need an April O'Neil.
If you had a turtle that you had to insure, like a parrot that you had to ensure had like aftercare after you died, who would you give that turtle to?
Aftercare. Okay.
Well, the turtle lives longer than you.
Yeah, it's true. So I will make it easy. I bequeath my parrot to my turtle. There we go. They can take care of each other. That's a sitcom right there. That's a sitcom. I think they'll just take care of each other forever. It'll be fine. One of them can almost talk. He can order pizzas and stuff. Yeah, I think it can happen.
And you work tech support. Have you turned it off and on again?
Have you turned it off and on again? Exactly. Well, let's talk a little bit about our movie today. It's called TMNT because cool people abbreviate. It's released March 23rd, 2007. It's directed and written by Kevin Munro, and it stars James Arnold Taylor, Nolan North, Mikey Kelly, Mitchell Whitfield, Chris Evans, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Mako, Kevin Smith, Patrick Stewart, Ji Zhang, and Lawrence Fishburne as the narrator.
A cast.
Pretty crazy cast. Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit. But yeah, like I said, one of the biggest surprises is that like we're 40 years into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles phenomenon, and it is still going strong. Now, we discussed the first film last week and how it became one of the best-selling independent films of all time. Naturally, that led to the demand for immediate sequels. But I think even the hardcore fans amongst us, the turtle apologists, will agree that it's been kind of a diminishing returns for the series as it went on. Like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze came out less than a year after the first movie, so it's a little rushed. That movie is deeply goofy. It is very, very locked in time.
It's very goofy.
It's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a very good, bad movie. It's very enjoyable for what it is, but it is... You know, I think we were all a little surprised by how well the first Ninja Turtles movie holds up, like, as a movie. It's got a little, like, integrity. It's got a little grit to it. And from here on out, it's kind of just, like, wacky cartoon bullshit. And, you know, Ninja Turtles 2, of course, is probably most famous for its Vanilla Ice song and concert in the middle of the movie in which the Turtles break into dance over the song Ninja Rap. That kind of tells you about where it was at. But the movie still made money, but it was making significantly less money than the first time around. It also cost quite a bit less, so the Turtles look a little cheaper. And then compound that for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, which came out in 1994. It's a time travel adventure that sends the Turtles back to feudal Japan.
I completely forgot about that movie until you mentioned it.
Yeah, is that triggering that?
It goes back in time.
They go back to feudal Japan, and they have to find their way back with a magical scepter. It's
oh my god!
I think that movie's got a lot of fun stuff in it, but it is also definitely another step down.
I remember enjoying it a lot.
There's a lot of fun stuff. Now there is a lot of fun stuff, but you can really see the budget getting slashed to pieces with the turtle designs in that third movie. Like, look at them in that movie compared to how they look in the first movie, and it is kind of hot garbage. But you know, that movie didn't really register. I think it's one of those, it cost $20 million, it made $20 million, and they just kind of walked away from it at that point. It's like, all right, no harm, no foul. And it looked like the Turtles were going to be winding down. There were a few attempts to keep the series alive throughout the 90s. The most notorious one is, I believe it's just called New Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they introduce a fifth female character to the roster. This is a live-action TV show, by the way, so it's horrifying looking. The fifth character's name is Venus de Milo.
And are they a turtle?
She is a turtle.
Okay.
She has boobs.
Okay.
Oh god!
A turtle is not a mammal. A turtle does not breastfeed its young, but they really made a point.
A female turtle should look just like a regular male turtle.
Yeah, are you Googling this right now, Justin, to see Venus de Milo, the Ninja Turtle? Yeah, everybody Google that at home right now. It's kind of silly. Like, it's definitely, it's not like full on,
They couldn't
like...
even give her her own color.
Yeah, she's kind of like
shot.
purpley pinkish, but it looks kind of like the same color as Donatello almost.
Oh my god, it's horrifying.
In these photos, it's very blue.
Oh, okay. See, and yeah, that's right. It's blue. Okay. In my memory, I thought I was exaggerating the boobs, and no, I was not exaggerating them.
They're
I'm like,
there.
I thought, oh yeah, no, they're subtle like suggestions in the shape of a shell. No, those are full on mommy milkers going on. It's unfortunate. I'm going to credit friend of the show, Ashley Park, for introducing me to that phrase, that particularly horrifying phrase. But yeah, so obviously the less said about that series, the better. It lasted only one season. So in the early 2000s, the co-creators of the Turtles, who are Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman, they had a big falling out, which led to Kevin Eastman selling his portion of the Turtles empire to Peter Laird and walking away entirely. In 2003, Laird helped launch a new animated series for the Fox Kids Network, and that was a huge hit. That one ran 7 seasons, and it kind of helped keep the Turtles brand alive. I've never seen any of this version. Some people refer to it as their favorite.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know, like younger folks than I. But really, I have not watched any of the TV series since the original. But I hear the newest one is like actually pretty fun, and that there's some fun stuff in some of these. But yeah, I know it's fairly well regarded, and Laird worked hard to keep it closer in spirit to the original comics, if not in its explicit content. So it was like a little bit darker, a little bit edgier than what we'd seen with the Turtles in the past. And it was the newfound popularity of that show that directly led to this film. So despite the underwhelming performance of the third film, the brand still had a strong name recognition, and there were a few attempts to bring the heroes in the half shell back to the big screen. And the most notable one was in the early 2000s. Hong Kong legend John Woo was being wooed, shall we say, to develop a new Ninja Turtles movie. And apparently it was on its way to happening, but it fell apart because the studio and the filmmakers couldn't agree on an artistic direction. So when Peter Laird reclaimed the rights to the series, he decided that he wanted the next film to be entirely animated. The discussion before was live-action humans with animated turtles, which we would eventually get. But he thought that the technology wasn't really there and that it would cause kind of a cognitive dissonance. So it's like, why not just make the whole movie animated?
What, 6 years?
7
years?
Yeah, 7 years. Yeah, 7 years. The studio brought on first-time director Kevin Munro, who was an animator and a storyboard artist who'd worked in film and video games for the last decade. We actually talked about him once before because he directed the feature film adaptation of Ratchet and Clank.
Oh.
So if this animation style looks a little familiar, that's why. Now, contrary to popular belief, and this is a very, very popular belief, this movie is not a remake or a reboot, all right? All right, you've probably heard that popular belief. This is actually a sequel. This is the fourth movie in that original run of Ninja Turtles movies. So this is a continuation.
April O'Neil stops being a reporter to
And-
become a whole new career as an antiquities
Laura Croft, exactly that.
dealer.
Like, it's also kind of implied that she's coming from massive family wealth, right? Because isn't that her shipping company? Like, she's got this whole conglomerate going on.
So again, Laura Croft.
Laura Croft, yeah, they just straight up turn her into Laura Croft.
And they give her a fantastic penthouse apartment.
Like, my God, it looks like Donald Trump's bathroom. It's so luxurious. There were a lot of outlandish pitches for this movie, including Turtles in Space. Could have been fun. But Monroe ultimately decided...
Have the Turtles ever fought aliens or predators?
I don't know, actually. They've teamed up with Batman.
They've teamed up with Batman.
They've teamed up with... they've teamed up with a lot of different people.
I would like
think
to
they have
see the
crossed over
Turtles-
with Archie at some point.
I would like to see the Predator hunt the turtles.
That'd be pretty fun. Yeah, I think you could do it. I'm sure there's like variants of all of these. The Turtles comic books are not very precious with the lore of stuff that's going on. There's like a million different arcs, and they don't always like coincide with each other. So I could see them having a little fun with that. Ultimately, the filmmakers decided to go back to the characters' New York City roots and focus on a story about the core family unit falling apart. Monroe said in an interview...
So in addition to that, that's what they focused on. But then they had this outlandish, otherworldly plot at the same time. I'm like,
Right.
I love the family drama. What is going on with this outrageous plot? Couldn't you have just made it a smaller story?
We just finished talking about the Lord of the Rings, and already we're getting like another Lord of the Rings sequence in our Ninja Turtles movie. It was very jarring, especially when it's all being kind of info dumped on you at the beginning. But, this Monroe said that he wanted this film to be, in his own words, less cowabunga, which I don't understand why you would want anything to be less cowabunga. That's counter to my every instinct. But he wanted it to be a little grittier, a little more in line with the original run of the comics. And like I said, the franchise still had name recognition, but studios were reluctant to go too big on the budget. So this was made for a fairly modest $34 million. The Turtles themselves they're almost never played by big names. Corey Feldman would probably be the biggest name that's been attached to this franchise so far. But the brothers here are played by a murderer's row of animation and video game voice actors. So we have James Arnold Taylor playing Leonardo. He's best known for the Clone Wars and Ratchet and Clank.
Obi-Wan?
I believe, yes. He's either Obi-Wan or Anakin. He's one of the main two guys, and I forget whom. I think he is Obi-Wan. Nolan North from Uncharted plays Raph.
Yeah, he was Obi-Wan.
Mikey Kelly, who appears in Rocket Power, Scooby-Doo, a bunch of other things. He is Michelangelo. And Mitchell Whitfield plays Donatello. He breaks this chain a little bit. He's not as much of a voice actor, but I recognize him as, A, the guy that Rachel leaves at the altar in the first episode of Friends, and B, he's in the movie My Cousin Vinny, which is kind of a stealth favorite movie of mine. Like, I could watch My Cousin Vinny at any time.
I've only seen parts of it.
Oh, it's so good. I love it. But he's Ralph Macchio's friend who gets arrested with him. And then we have the biggest names attached here are probably Sarah Michelle Gellar, who I think is a good fit for April O'Neil. We have a very young Chris Evans playing Casey Jones. This is a pre-Captain America Chris Evans, so he's still kind of in his Human Torch mode of being kind of the extreme sports goofy dude. You know, I think he found his own kind of new lane later on, but this is not my favorite era of Chris Evans. Patrick Stewart lends his natural gravitas to a new original villain character called Winters. And we have Chinese superstar Ji Zhang from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She's bringing the Foot Clan leader Karai to the screen for the first time. And, of course, the late, great Mako plays Splinter. This is his final film role. He actually died in the production of this movie. We talked about him from our Avatar episode because he was, of course, Uncle Iroh, the best character on that show. Best character? That's where I think I'm coming down on that.
Zuko.
You're Zuko. Zuko's up there for me. I think it's Iroh for me. I don't know.
Definitely Iroh.
I love Iroh. But yeah, and the same voice actor who took over the role of Iroh came in to finish out the remaining voice acting for him in this movie.
He did that for a lot of characters.
Video games, yeah.
That he had, that Mako had been in, had been voicing.
Now, this movie came out in 2007. It did pretty well, actually. It made most of its budget back on its opening weekend, and it kind of legged it out to about $100 million worldwide. I think critics mostly shrugged. I think this is a movie with like overwhelming 5 out of 10 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Like it balances out to about like a 35% on Rotten Tomatoes, but most of those reviews are very mild. I don't think this is a movie that particularly inspired anybody, but it also didn't particularly piss anybody off. All in all, it was not quite the powder keg revitalization that the studio was hoping for. Kevin Munro spoke about wanting to do a trilogy that would encompass some more of the Turtles lore. Part 2, in his estimation, was going to be Mikey getting disillusioned with the Turtles and quitting and joining the Foot Clan. So that's an interesting direction you can take it. And then Part 3 would have gone into like the Dimension X stuff. So that's like Krang and all these weird kind of like mutant creatures from this other world, you know. Unfortunately, the animation studios, Magi Films, they went under thanks to the performance of a film that we're going to talk about in a few weeks. Hint, hint. And so the hoped-for trilogy was stopped dead in its tracks, and we'll see next week when the Turtles finally did come back. It basically brought none of this movie with it. So this is kind of fascinating because it's kind of a one and done little blip in the middle of this like longer franchise. I'm curious what y'all thought of it. Have either of you seen this before today?
No, I hadn't seen it before.
Okay, yeah, I'm curious where, Jamin, where do you come down on this one?
There are things I really like about this movie. Like, I genuinely really do like the family. Like, I love Raph being angry that Leonardo left. I like the idea of Leonardo being out on his own for a little while.
Yeah.
I definitely liked those things, but I also feel like they made Donatello and Michelangelo jokes instead of making them fully fleshed out characters. So I didn't like that. But I also loved the epic battle between Raphael and Leonardo.
Yeah.
Like, it was so that was a really great battle and like a really great fight. And so some of the fights are a little like boring, but that fight was really, really good. And then so I really liked the turtle stuff. Casey Jones and April O'Neil definitely are like sort of like put in they're there.
They don't really register.
But
yeah.
it's just, it was funny when I was watching this and I was like, is that Patrick Stewart?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's Patrick Stewart. And
do you think he has more vivid memories of playing this character or of playing the poop emoji in the Emoji Movie? I'm willing to bet the poop emoji.
Yeah. That's always memorable.
Yeah.
I feel like the ham-fisted apocalypse thing was really stupid.
Yeah, I did not care about
like
it.
I didn't
Yeah.
like why the generals were turned into stone, and then he spent his whole life trying to save his generals, but then his generals betrayed him. The second that they were like, "Oh, we're mortal," you were alive for like 2 days. Like all of a sudden, you're like, "I really like being stone." Like I just don't get it. It made-
let's get stoned.
And the fact that they had 13 monsters, why not just have 4? Like, you know?
13 is scary. It's an unlucky number. I don't know if you know about this.
It's just like, so I feel like it had really strong possibilities. And like, and again, I do feel like the Raphael angle is the strongest part of this movie as we follow Raphael and his just like him being a lone vigilante versus him being a team. And honestly, what the fuck was Leonardo doing coming back and thinking, why does he get to be the boss? Like,
Yeah, he got sent on a work retreat that he stayed at forever. You know, like, what are you doing? Like, Justin, where do you come down? You're fairly new to the whole Turtles phenomenon, and I know you like animated dramas as well. So I'm curious where this one sat with you.
I kind of agree with the Rotten Tomatoes of like this is a very movie.
It's really mediocre.
Yeah, it didn't really like pique my interest that much. One of my favorite songs, "Red Flag" by Billy Talent, was in the movie for 15 seconds.
Okay.
When they introduce Cowabunga Boy or whatever,
Cowabunga Carl?
Yeah, Cowabunga
Yeah.
Carl. And I was like, "Well, that was cool." And then the rest of the movie was just kind of like they got a lot of people and they didn't really do a whole lot with it. Because like we could have had just a normal criminal overlord or something.
Yeah.
And they spend so much time, reasonably so, because I think it's the best part, is the family dynamics and
Yeah.
drama and stuff. And then it's like, okay, now we have this whole supervillain plot that we're going to cram into the final 45 minutes of this movie. And then it's like, there's 13 beasts. Well, they already have 12 of them.
Yeah.
So it's literally just like, and then it's like, oh, they need to find the final beast, which is one, apparently in New York.
Sure.
Two, they just go, the Foot Clan just go get it.
Yeah. It's not.
And
it's not
like,
a problem.
oh, so that was just easy?
Yeah.
They did that in half an hour of like real time.
This really is a movie for all the exposition that it has. It really kind of barely has a plot.
Yeah.
Like there's all of that lore and all of that world building, all of that like stuff that is padding out the runtime a little bit. But really, all I cared about was the
and I just
the
wanted
brother
to point
relationship.
out, just like, yeah, somehow a Central American general is a white dude.
Sure. I mean, he's like roaming
But
the earth,
how-
I guess, for centuries. Yeah. But it is. There's a whole disconnect with that, and I just like didn't really care. But like, there's some stuff here that I was glomming onto. I've seen this movie a couple times now. I saw it in theaters, and I thought it was fine. It didn't really register with me. Saw it again a couple years later with some friends when we were going through the entire series, and I like actively disliked it. And then this time I'm watching it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not hating this like I did the last time, but I think I'm back to my default. Like,
liked
this is
it,
just
though.
kind of it's
Like,
kind of like a room temperature movie.
I think it's a slightly above room temperature movie. I think that the strong parts of it were like there was some strong parts of it. I do think it's a crisp 87 minutes, so it's not like you are sticking around for too long. And it's definitely it's also it has the rhythm of a long TV episode.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I don't mind like there's a lot of nonsense I watch when I watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the cartoon series, and so I don't mind there being some throwaway plot as long as there's the strong family connection. I do resent I love Michelangelo and I love Donatello, so I do resent the lack of focus on the other family, because I did like it in the things that I've watched of the the fallout from them fighting, Raphael and Leonardo fighting, the fallout that they have on Donatello and Michelangelo, because it genuinely hurts them.
Yeah.
And this movie didn't focus or like even,
Yeah.
you know, just it really would have humanized Michelangelo instead of being like, they made him a punchline, which I'm fine with Michelangelo being a punchline occasionally, but he's still a real character with real thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, and like, yeah, you're right. It diminishes them, like, because this idea that they have that like when they're not all together in this family unit, they're kind of directionless. Like all of them are just kind of like scattered unless they have each other. But like Michelangelo's still just kind of doing his wacky party guy thing. He just has a day job, you know, and Donatello's still doing like his nerdy thing, but he's got a day job, you know, so. And neither of them really get much of anything to do. But I will agree, and just kind of echoing it again, I think this is a great Raphael movie. I think this is a really strong. It's a strong performance from
Yeah.
Nolan North, who is really on a hot streak right now. This was kind of his apex of like voicing every single character in every single video game, and then transitioning into movies as well. Like, so he was really killing it at this time. I think he's bringing that kind of, I like that they've just decided that Raphael's voice is going to be like gruff New Yorker. Like nobody else in the family has this voice, but Raphael is going to be gruff New Yorker because Josh Pace played him like that in the first movie, and they're just kind of keeping that going. And I think it makes him the most distinctive voice. The other three voices sound too similar to me. They're all just kind of like higher pitched, like young dudes, and they don't really register. But yeah. At the core of
surprisingly
this,
didn't have that problem. I just had the problem of still struggling to remember which name went to which character.
see, that's okay. That's okay.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
That
It's
was
not
drilled
okay.
into me when I was a kid.
It's still not okay.
I've seen 2 movies over the course of 3 weeks.
Yeah, and you could remember the names of them. They have very distinct things attributed to them. Like, who has the nunchucks? Michelangelo.
I see. Here's the thing, though. I also have aphantasia. So when you say who has the nunchucks, and I go the one with the nunchucks, I don't remember anything else related to the nunchucks.
Well, attach a name to him.
I could. I could.
You've got one more movie, so
I've got one more. We'll see if it happens.
And
We'll
it's
see if it
also
happens.
not ultimately super important if these stick in your head forever. You know, it may be just good for like trivia purposes once in a while. But yeah, I think you'll be okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like we've repeated it just because that's kind of all there is to really hang on this movie. But the scenes between Leo and Raph are the absolute best ones. And like if you're being really charitable and giving it like a really highfalutin reading, it's the story about these conflicting elements from like an immigrant parent, right? It's the idea of upholding tradition and honor or striking out as an American and doing your own thing. There's an interesting clash, like a cultural clash happening between these two guys, but you also get to know enough about their characters to see that like these are two guys who love each other dearly. They are both just extremely stubborn and kind of on opposite philosophical threads of this. That's just always going to be good drama. It's always going to work really well.
I think it would have been a better movie if they were fighting like criminals.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of that.
Because the movie starts off kind of with that, like the Night Watchman, like a little bit of like a darker crime fighty vigilante tone, and then they're like, no, now we're fighting magic.
Yeah, it's way less interesting. The stakes feel too silly. Like, and look, this is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, silliness is part of the equation. It's built into it. This is a franchise that started as a joke, you know, and then just kind of evolved into its own thing. But it's just kind of about maintaining a tonal consistency. Like, when it started going into the Lord of the Rings stuff at the beginning of the movie, I'm just like immediately getting that cognitive dissonance, because it's like we're bouncing back and forth between modern day New York and ancient Mesopotamia or something, and like all these magical
Central America.
It's not even that. It's where they end up in Central America, but the original battle is some kind of like mythic. I don't know. It's some kind of non-specific area, but yeah, it doesn't add much of anything to me. I would have much rather it been like a local street level thug kind of issue. Like bring back the Shredder, bring back like, yeah, because we haven't seen the Shredder in 2 movies at this point, you know.
Or even have like something fighting the clan.
Yeah.
The
Foot Clan.
The Foot Clan.
Yeah.
Because then that could then set up for like, okay, now they've defeated their foe, now Splinter returns in their rise to power.
Yeah.
But
I think they could even had this crazy thing. I think they could have just made it more concrete.
and
Like,
a little
and,
more consistent throughout.
Well, and have have a Donatello be working for him or something along those lines, and just making it a little bit more interesting about like why, like what actually is drawing them away from each other. Like giving Donatello just like a customer service job. Donatello's a genius.
That's the other thing too. Is as a systems engineer. It's like whenever I see they're like, oh, they're the smart one, and then they're in like an entry level IT position, and I'm like, you could have given them a better role, like a better day job, and still,
Yeah.
it would have fit the character better.
And I think the idea is to convey that they're like slumming it. They're living below their potential because they're
Yeah.
not all like together, But if you're going to go with this sort of bringing the band back together kind of approach to the Turtles, which I think is a good idea. Like, I like the idea of these four guys have kind of, their bond has been a little shattered and they're all split and they're all in different directions. Like, I think you can go a little bit further than stealing a joke from Ghostbusters 2, basically with Michelangelo, and then just kind of like writing Donnie off. Like Donatello, like I've been on the record, that's my favorite turtle. That's the turtle I identify with the most.
He's the least
basically
important in this movie.
Basically not in this movie. Yeah, yeah.
Also, how do you get internet in the sewer? I'm really curious.
I don't know. I mean, you get hot spots, I guess. Yeah.
In the sewer?
Look, Donatello does machines. I don't know what to tell you. He does machines. Yeah, and it's a movie that just does not really stick in my head, even to the point where I watched it between last night and this afternoon. So I finished it like 2 hours ago, and not a whole lot of it sticks in my head. I think it's also because I'm not crazy about the art style here, which we haven't really talked about. What do you guys feel about the animation style here?
I don't mind it. I do think I don't like a skinny turtle. Like, honestly, I like my turtles rotund.
Yeah,
like
you
my
want a thick
turtles
boy, yeah.
Turtle-like.
I was more disturbed by the skinny human characters. Like, they all have these weird, like,
They all look like Bratz dolls.
a little bit, yeah.
It was one of the things that I felt about the Clone Wars. Kind of felt the same way of like a lot of like thinner characters and like really just the general styles. Everybody is smaller except for like a small number of characters. Like in this case, Mr. Winters or Yaddle or whatever his name is.
And even he's got like a little narrow waist and is just like a broad upper body.
Yes.
I think that's also part of why I've never really been able to get into the Clone Wars, or like never really felt compelled to get into it, is because I don't like that animation style.
Yeah,
It
you
just
have
looks-
to kind of get past the animation style.
And I think for some people that's not a problem. I think the Turtles look pretty good in this. I think I like their movements. I like their action. I think all that stuff's pretty well animated. But there's something just kind of low rent looking about it. There's kind of a cool color palette going on. It looks a little washed out, a little saturated, but it's
little orangish, brownish.
it kind of made me feel like, and this might sound like a dig, but it kind of made me feel like I was watching it on an old CRT TV, So it's a bit of vintage retro vibes for me a little bit, but
Always what you want to hear about your movie.
yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of an across the board okay movie for me. It's sort of, if we were to be pinpointing like one of the most medium movies that we've talked about, this is kind of like right there for me. It's just sort of like smack in the middle.
Yeah.
Which makes it a little difficult to talk about because then you just end up Monday morning quarterbacking it. Just like, this is how I would have made this turtle movie with these same elements, But not always as fun. But I think we can probably safely move on to talk about the game at least, because I think we have a little bit more to say about the game. We spent some time with this thing, and I think we were all kind of frustrated and entertained by it in equal measure in ways that were kind of interesting. But let's talk about TMNT, the video game, which was released March 20th, 2007. So kind of, we were talking about this, one of the few games that's actually like day and date with the movie. Like a lot of the time that is not what comes up, as we've learned on this show.
Yeah. I just, whenever you say the next one's going to be on the Wii, I get sad.
Yeah.
Every time anybody has ever mentioned the Wii to me, I've mostly been sad about the encounter. unless it's like we're gonna play Wii Tennis, and I'm like, that's a good one.
Yeah, there's a handful that you kind of, but yeah, for the most part I agree with you.
It's
My Wii's been giving me trouble for a little bit, which we've finally been able to figure out. So we were able to play this on the big screen as opposed to playing it on the Wii U handheld gamepad with a Wii controller. That was one of our low points for the last Airbender episode.
it's fitting.
Might as well have just played it on like a fridge.
Yeah, and one of the things is there's a reason why controls like this didn't really stick, and it's because you had to really know what you're doing with it and like work with it in order to make a good game with it.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't happen most of the time. Most of the time it feels kind of clunky, feels kind of weird. It feels more like a gimmick and less like a fun part of the experience. And so a lot of games get kind of toned down in terms of fun.
Yeah.
As opposed to like if you were playing something like this on a PlayStation or an Xbox.
Yeah, I think one of the knocks that people had against this movie or this game at the time was that the Wii version didn't really use the motion controls, and now I kind of look at it as this game's kind of saving grace. That like it's not really very reliant on the motion controls. The little that you do use is very silly, but right off the bat, I think the biggest sin that this game commits is that it is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game that is single player. All right, we just got done talking last week about how fun these arcade beat-em-ups are with all of us on the couch, like playing at the same time. Like, that's just kind of an instant formula for success. Most Ninja Turtles games have followed in that path. This is the one that decides we're going to be a single-player only experience.
And you would also go into a Ninja Turtles game, or really most comic book fighting like series is, and go, oh, the game is going to be, you know, at least 50% fighting, if not more.
Yeah.
And instead, you get 85% platforming.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of platforming.
Yeah, which is it's a kind of hit or miss, you know, because I think there's a lot. It's similar to the movie. I think there's a lot that this game is doing pretty well, but it's hindered by a couple of like really poor design choices. The camera is a big problem in this game. We were constantly kind of like this constantly shifting perspective means it was hard to be precise about your controls and about your jumps. So there were a lot of cases of us like clinging to a wall and then just vaulting off into nowhere, or trying to make a jump, but then the perspective changes and like we can't see where the ledge is anymore. Like
The levels are large and varied, though. Like it probably takes it took like and there's also a timing element. The faster you do it, the better. So, like Justin took like 20 minutes to finish a level, and that's after falling to his death 1,000 times.
Which, all right,
Not
I have
on
to.
my A game.
I have to throw out as J-Van, you are our resident jump hater. How did you feel about the copious
I
amounts of
fell
jumping
twice.
you had to do?
I was doing spectacular in this game.
Okay, my level was only jumping.
Your level, you also got saddled with the Donatello level, which, similar to the movie, I think Donatello is kind of the most like, you know, hand wavy character in this game. Your special ability is this really kind of absurd pole vaulting move that like launches you across long gaps, and it's hard to be precise on those. So I was feeling for
and
you.
then
on
the
those.
level had a lot of wall jumps and wall climbs, and I was just like,
yeah. And yet we played this for quite a while. Like
Yeah.
we've given up on games like this earlier and faster and just
Well,
watched the walkthrough.
I think the game was definitely interesting, and like it was fun playing the different turtles. Like we each got to play a different turtle, and then we were watching the playthrough. We missed the levels that where 4 turtles were playing at the same time, where you could switch between them and you could do a bunch of really interesting things with them. And so yeah, like I feel like I have to say that. I feel like they had less fighting because the fighting mechanism was so stupid.
It's so
because
stupid.
you wave the Wii remote back and forth, to do the attacks, and the attacks are so imprecise, and it's just like you end up just waving the wrist back and forth, and you're gonna give yourself wrist problems.
I mean, this is not like a Zelda game where like your actions are one-to-one with the actions in the game. You know, this is literally the screen is telling you to just wiggle the remote back and forth, and that is how you do your fighting. And if you wiggle the nunchuck back and forth, then you'll do some kicking. And that's about as sophisticated as it gets. And there's always going to be a sense of like giggling a little bit if you're playing a Wii game and it asks you to just do something stupid that involves like shaking something around. There's always going to be at least a little bit of entertainment out of that.
We didn't giggle once.
I was giggling a little bit. I was giggling. I thought it was really stupid, but it's all pretty stupid in an appealing way. I think it generally works pretty well when you kind of accustom yourself to the camera. I thought the movement felt nice and fast. I thought the jumping felt pretty intuitive for the most part.
Definitely keeps you moving. Keeps moving.
It moves,
like
yeah.
It moves along at a reasonable pace.
After you complete each level, you get a mini game that usually makes no sense.
Those mini games are minor war crimes. Okay, those are all terrible. Yeah, you unlock a mini game after beating a level. You have to go back. It's very complicated to figure out how to go back and play it. But once you figure out how to play it, it's just it's not like Mario Party or anything where they give you the instructions right at the beginning. They show a loose a diagram of what your controls should be, but they at no point explain the goal.
It made me feel at least a little bit vindicated because the one that Steve started to play was basically the section that I had the hardest trouble with in terms of jumping between walls. And then when Steve fell to his death many times, I was like, you know what?
Good.
I feel better about this.
Yeah. No, it was frustrating because I think so. My mini game, I'm Raphael. I'm at the very top of a long like shaft, and I'm sliding down the walls. And the controls are telling me to like grip the Z button and then wiggle. All right, so I grip the Z button, I'm wiggling, and it's just making me bounce back and forth between walls. And eventually I think, okay, so am I just jumping down? What's the point? I jump down and I die. And I think, J-Ben, you said you thought that the goal of the game was to see how long you could stay on the wall.
I don't know. It didn't make any sense.
You got to play something that did incorporate some of the Wii motion controls
like
a little bit.
You pointed a throwing star at someone and then you threw, and so it was but it never. It ended after like 5 minutes. It was so long.
It's so long.
And then there was no win screen or no screen to see like how many people you killed or anything like that. So it was real lame.
Yeah. No, there was none of that. It was the most tacked on of like Wii mini games like ever.
Yeah.
And this is an era when there were a lot of these really like poorly thought out mini game collections, and this feels like it's just stapled on here after the fact very roughly.
This was a pretty long game for a Wii game. It was ran like for a playthrough about 4 hours.
Yeah, about there.
They had 25 levels, so that's fair enough.
That's pretty robust for an 80-minute game or 80-minute
like
movie.
12 too many, but
Yeah. It probably is going on too long. Yeah, and like I said, we didn't get far enough to sort of explore the other dynamics of having like the tag teams or the special abilities. Like
made it more interesting.
Michelangelo can kind of hover using his nunchucks, which is always like something that amuses me because it's like he's not even moving it fast enough to even conceivably create that.
That's
but
not how
whatever.
aerodynamics work. That is one
Nitpick
thing.
for a giant turtle movie, but yeah.
How dare they? As the levels progress, each level is like, this is a co-op level where you can play as all of them. This is a level where you're playing as the Night Watchman. This is a level where you're playing as, X or Y. And so it does seem like it's at least somewhat varied to keep things interesting, but it's still just platforming.
Yeah. And just no real... I was missing... Same with the movie and the game, I was kind of missing a playfulness, you know? I was missing a little bit of that. Like, they try. There's a couple of jokes here and there, like Michelangelo's The Cut Up or whatever, but none of the jokes really landed for me, like, even as a cheesy nostalgia thing. Like, they just kind of felt underwritten and, like, low energy. And I think the game is struggling from the same kind of issue where I'm like... Where are the colors? Where's the energy? Where's the I want to fight a giant like rhinoceros wearing a military hat. I don't care about this like statue of a soldier.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, like
yeah,
I'm
we
not
should say
interested in that.
the end is like a 20-minute boss battle where you fight 4 different bosses, but you have 4 different turtles to cycle in between, so you have plenty of life. So it's just more like a long slog of just like whipping that Wii remote back and forth.
Yeah, it's just kind of
'Cause again,
excessive.
the only way to attack is whipping the Wii remote around.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't get more complicated than just like waggling, you know?
I think I would have really liked this game if we had played it on PS2. But the Wii remote angle just made me pissed off.
Yeah, yeah. Well, do we have any final thoughts on this game or this movie before we close it out? We'll have a nice tight one this week. No, we're good. All right, let's move on to our rankings. This is where we rank the properties that we have just imbibed. Is this going to be a good movie, good game, bad game, or somewhere in between? J-Ben, why don't you kick us off? Where are you landing on
I think
TMNT?
this is an okay movie. Okay to good. I love the Turtles.
Yeah.
So I have a weakness for this movie, even if it's not spectacular. I definitely love the Turtle family angst. Like, so I would say okay to good movie, and then I think this game is on our scale good. As an actual game, not so good. I think you'd get bored with it very quickly. But again, it's like we've played a lot worse.
We have, yeah. There's a real Cinema Arcade bell curve going on with a lot of the games that we're playing. Most of the games that we're recommending on this show are not necessarily games we would bother with in real life. Justin, where do you land here?
Yeah, I think the movie starts good and then gets boring, and I'll put it somewhere in between, similar to J-Ban, but probably a little closer to okay than J-Ban. And then the game was, again, kind of okay. Again, if you had paid $3 to rent it and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were your thing, you might be disappointed because it's not a beat-em-up, but then you might enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's definitely got enough game.
It is a crime that this isn't a beat 'em up game.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous. And
That's
I
what
know that's
I
done to
love last
death.
week's game so much, but I just the beat 'em up games are so
At
much fun,
least-
and the Turtles are meant for beat 'em up games.
At least like 50% beat 'em up.
Yeah,
But,
there's
like-
got to be a little bit
No,
more.
mine should be like 80% beat 'em up. It should just be beating the fuck out of like people.
Because there's like a Ratchet and Clank game or something. The way the pacing of the game is you platform for a while, then you get to an opening, and then you fight for a minute, and then you platform for a while, and then you get to another opening, and then you fight for a minute.
Yeah, it's just very like lather, rinse, repeat. I think that's where I fall in this as well. I think this is right there in that Reign of Fire zone for me of like one of the most medium movies we have talked about. I think it skews a little bit closer to medium bad for me. Just because I love the Turtles as well, but like I was bumping on the art style, I was bumping on the kind of disjointed plotting of this, and I think there are a couple of things this does quite well, but it leaves this as kind of a fascinating little island in the middle of this franchise that sort of nobody's really going super hard to bat for, but nobody's really upset about either. So it's kind of in that zone. And yeah, this game gets a little bit of a boost from being on the Cinema Arcade scale. I think it's pretty competent for the most part. It's got some bugginess. It's got a couple of design decisions I wouldn't have made, but it's also got a couple of things that are there's definitely something keeping us going. I think it's just energetically paced and like kind of just simple enough that it's pretty easy to draw you in. So
I think if we would have made it to the turtle swapping level, I think we probably would have made it good. But
I would probably maybe those are a mess too in action, you know. But
We still played for like 45 minutes to an hour.
we played quite a good long amount of time on this one. All right, well, that closes out the middle chapter of our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles miniseries, which means next week we are closing it out with the 2023 film Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Madness, a brand new revival of the franchise that seems to be ushering the Turtles into its next era. I'm very excited to talk about that movie. It's going to be a lot of fun to revisit. So we will see you all next week. And in honor of this movie, I offer a very solemn, very gritty cowabunga.
I have an addendum.
Okay, please.
You called it, what did you call the movie?
What did I call the movie?
Mutant Madness, I believe. It's
Mutant Mayhem?
Yeah.
Did I say Mutant Madness? Oh,
I think
excuse
so.
me. Excuse me. I apologize. Mutant Mayhem. A
I
better
just
title.
Googled it real quick, and I was like, what? That's not what Steve said.
Props to Seth Rogen. Better title. Better title on that one. All right, y'all. We will see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.